Hello everyone. Today I'm working on this GP18. It's in fact a Halmark unit. So it's a GP18 high hood, and I'm gonna paint it like a GP9. So this didn't auction well for the obvious reason that it's got a weird paint job. So I have to repaint this. While I'm doing this, I'll discuss with you the advantages of a brass engines over a plastic one. Well, the first advantage is that it's metal. So being metal, it's not as brittle as plastic. Detail-wise, Intermountain, for example, is making very, very detailed looking locomotives. But the handrails are brittle compared to these. Also, they have a lot of extra details, like all these grab irons and lift rings. Right now the lift rings are hidden by the paint, but actually that's going to be my first step, is removing this odd paint job. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure my handrails are aligned and I'm happy with the way they are. They look pretty good. The brass, you can bend it a little bit. They also put these old style rapido couplers, which are interesting, but I'm going to replace it with rapidos. See, this little handrail is not really perfect, so I'm just going to bend it right back to where I want it. You can bend them to as much as you need to where you're happy. So to paint it, I have to remove the body from the drive system. Now before you do that, you have to sweep your floor. If you don't sweep your floor, if you lose one of these, you drop it on the floor, you'll be looking for it forever. So you want to have your floor to be 100% clean. That is the worst nightmare. And it's a valuable engine, so you will want to find it. This is taking a little bit of time, but I feel it's worth it to take my time to do this. There's my drive. So when I was young, I was told that these drives weren't very good, that you would need to repower it using something like a Northwest short line. They have good stuff actually, but I found this to be a very good runner, and I run these. So I'm going to set this aside for a second while I look at my body. This is the screw, as you can see. It's very, very tough to keep it there. I'm going to try to focus on it. So yeah, you're looking at very small stuff. So I want to keep this organized. Actually, I'm going to find a knife safe place on the box where I can put them, so that when I'm done I don't have to look for them. I've cleaned the drive before. So yes, so the drive, the body actually is brass. So instead of, it has nice details like see-through fans, and the horn is brass, so it's very sturdy. You can touch this, no problem. And that's why they're so valuable. Detail-wise, the plastic is catching up, especially Intermountain. But everything is sturdy, you know, the lift rings, the handrails, the grab irons, everything's very sturdy. I'm not saying that you can drop this, but considering how fine all the details are, they're pretty sturdy. So I can use, because it's metal, I can use my furniture my furniture stripper. So I'll be putting this in the stripper, and that's my next part. So I made a plate out of some tin foil. Now the skull and crossbones, they're not kidding about that. If that gets into your hands, it really hurts. I took away partly the rapido couplers because they're not gonna survive this. This melts away paint, but it also melts away plastic. So that's another advantage of brass, is you can use actual furniture stripper on there. Boy, I tell you, that paint does not like the stripper, and there's some really beautiful brass under there. I've got to paint my side frames. I'm going to paint this for Pennsylvania, actually unit 7075, which is a GP9. So I'm going to have to detach the side frames from the trucks here. So it's very easy. Here, inside here, there's a little worm gear. I think I'm going to take it all apart so you can see. I don't have to detach everything from the frame to get to it, to get to the side frames. These two little screws are holding this part in. So I'm going to start with that. Just making sure that you can see me. Some more very small screws, and that will detach my worm gear. Which that, if you're not careful, will also end up on the floor. So I'm holding it with my finger. It looks like that's good. Remove my little screw, and then I've got my little worm gear with a little toothed gear and a little drive shaft. So this is held together with this screw, so I can take it apart, but I don't need to. And now I can take the side frames out. The only thing holding the truck together is this little screw here. So we'll remove that. Oh, my dishes are clean now. So let that fall there. Now I've got my two side frames in my hands. So the wheels can be put aside. That is not a problem. And the side frame here, it's stuck on there a little bit, but it's not going to be hard to remove. Well, maybe it is going to be a little bit. I'm going to do this off camera just to take my time. It came out no problem. So I'll just have you take a look at the wheels. So everything here is brass. It's a beauty to look at. Very nice. Also note the electrical path to this. They have little wipers on top of the side frames. When the side frames are on, you can't see them. And they connect with a wire to the motor. One side does the top, the other side does the bottom. And sometimes they use the frame, but this particular engine does not. So this picks up one side of the track and this picks up the other, and they're connected. So the red one to the top and the black one to the bottom. On the opposite side, the truck collects one side of the track, the green wire the other side. So the truck connects to the top and the wiper connects to the bottom. So a little weird, but it runs great actually. So I'm gonna paint the side frames now. They have a very good detail. My favorite is the brake cylinders. Here you can see there's a hole there. It's a lost wax casting, I believe is what they're called. So for end scale, really good detail. Now it looks completely different. So the stripper did a very good job. You can see all the photo etched parts on the roof and the handrail. Everything looks good. I took away the couplers, so I have to replace that. I'm going to show you some of the beautiful details on these. One detail that I really appreciate is the chain here. It's actually a real chain. And the cut levers actually work. And you can see the beautiful job on the pilot beam. Also, the lift rings, they're very fine, but you can actually put something through them. Unfortunately, when you paint it, it's very hard not to get paint in there. But it's a very fine detail. It's tough to show, but you can see through the lift ring. So it's a very, very small detail. And usually when I paint them, that disappears. But if I wanted to sell this, I would sell it like this. Probably would be worth more money as undecorated. But because I run them, I'm going to paint this for Pennsylvania Railroad. Pennsylvania Railroad never had a GP18, but they had the GP9, which was very similar looking. So I painted my gas tank and my side frames, and now I'm testing my engine just to make sure that it's running the way I like it. These are very good runners. Now that's what I'm talking about. So I let my paint dry. It's very shiny, so I'm gonna put my decals at this time. With the decals, it looks much better. I'm gonna paint the yellow safety rails, and then I'll put some dull coat. With the dull coat, it looks very professional. All that's left to do now is put my shell on my drive here. I'll screw this off camera because it's pretty touchy. It's very small screw, so it requires 100% of my attention. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.